Your Rangers cruise into the Windy City, fresh off taking 3 of 4 from the Los Angeles Dodgers. They'll face a White Sox team currently in a tailspin, having lost their last 7 games. The Sox have their stopper on the mound tonight as Chris Sale looks to stop the pale hose slide. But the Rangers will counter with the veteran Colby Lewis, 2-0 in his last 3 starts. From the south side of Chicago, Texas Rangers baseball is coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas off the plane this morning here in Chicago, about a 25-degree difference, but a little bit refreshing, which is just what the team needed as they begin a 3-game series here in the Windy City against the White Sox. Welcome in, everyone, along with Mark McLemore, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us for this Friday night of Ranger Baseball. And, Matt, tonight, a very interesting pitching matchup in that you have a contrast in styles between the two.
You really do. And, talking about the White Sox, Chris Sale, one of the best left-handed pitchers in all of baseball. Talk about a guy that has everything and knows how to control it and dominate a offense anytime he takes the mound. You look at the numbers. Over his last 7 starts, he's 4-2 with an ERA of 1.52, 10 walks and 79 strikeouts. And in 6 of those 7 starts, Buzz, he's got 10-plus strikeouts, so he knows how to get the job done. Now, on the flip side for the Rangers, Colby Lewis relies a lot on control and command, being able to spot that fastball whenever he can, and he loves pitching against the White Sox, 5-0 lifetime against the White Sox, so he also dominates this White Sox ball club. So we're in for a pretty good pitching matchup tonight.
I would think so, and both teams having trouble against the opposition starter, so we'll see who comes out on top here this evening. Rangers playing well, as they just took 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers. They look to keep it going against the White Sox. Welcome back to the starting lineup for the first pitch, right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. By Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Well, a cool evening temperature hovering right around 60 degrees. Rangers and the White Sox getting set to hook up in a 3-game weekend series. Before we get underway, let's head down and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, guys, Adam Rosales, as expected, in the lineup tonight against Chris Sale. He does have fantastic career numbers against Mr. Sale. 7 of 14, 6 RBIs, 3 home runs. And Adam says he's just embracing the role that he's in, getting the chance to play whenever.
I feel like I've matured in this role, and knowing that I can't put too much emphasis on one day or one at bat. I kind of just got to let it roll and just, don't put too much pressure on myself, and know that I will get my opportunities and do my best when I get them.
And Adam says he's totally comfortable in this role, and he's really, as he said, matured and grown into it because he's been doing it for the last several years. He relishes the opportunities when he gets them, and as he said, tries not to put too much emphasis on any one at-bat or any one game. Hopefully those hot numbers will continue tonight against Chris Sale. It is the Rangers and the White Sox in Game 1 of a 3-game series here at U.S. Cellular in Chi-Town. We've got the first pitch coming up here on Fox Sports Southwest after this.
Home run challenge, and every Rangers home run hit tonight, anyway, raises $12,500 for prostate cancer research. You can make a pledge by going online to homerunchallenge.org. And through your generosity so far, $1,350,000 has been raised through your pledges. We appreciate it. We have that running through the weekend, through Father's Day on Sunday. Well, Mark McLemore now is going to tell you about the Texas Rangers Southwest Airlines starting lineup.
Shin-Soo Choo, that leadoff. Elvis Andrews will hit second. Joey Gallo's going to bat third. Prince Fielder will bat cleanup. Adam Rosales will hit fifth. Ryan Rule back in the lineup will hit sixth. Robinson Chirinos will bat seventh. Leonis Martin will hit eighth. And Hanser Alberto will be batting ninth.
And that lineup has its hands full tonight because for the White Sox, Chris Sale, all-star left-hander, 3-time all-star left-hander on the hill. A great fastball changeup combo An occasional breaking ball, especially to left-handers, and he has a supreme ability to put away hitters when he gets ahead of them. And he is a handful for anybody. And when he's throwing the ball the way he is right now, look out, because you're going to have some tough at-bats. Shin-Soo Choo starts things off by taking strike one. Choo at 241 for the year. Sale with ball one. 98 miles an hour. So apparently he got loose in the pen before he went out there.
It's looking that way already.
Yeah. Sale has been going crazy of late with the strikeouts. He's had 4 consecutive 12 strikeout performances. And that puts him in a pretty short list of company. Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, the only ones that have had more than that consecutively since going back to 1900.
That's pretty good company to be in.
That is, yeah. That probably means you're pretty good.
If you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're really into striking people out.
Pitching, winning ball games, yeah.
Now the 2-2 pitch, and Choo skies one to center field. Adam Eaton patrolling the middle part of the outfield and puts it away for out number 1. Now let's take a look at the rest of the White Sox defense. You saw Adam Eaton in center field. He is flanked tonight by Melky Cabrera in left. Avisail Garcia is in right field. The infield, Jose Abreu at first, Carlos Sanchez and Alexei Ramirez up the middle, Connor Gillespie at third, and Tyler Flowers is catching tonight for Chris Sale, who has 1 out on a fly ball. Next up, Elvis Andrus. Elvis at 238. He takes strike 1. Elvis with 3 home runs, 24 driven, and he's been kind of going back and forth recently between the 5th spot of the order and the 2nd spot. Rangers have seen a lot of left-handed starters against them. And Elvis doing pretty good work up in that number 2 spot against left-handers. Down to the count here to Sale, no balls and 2 strikes. Left-hander back to him. 1-2.
I can't imagine what it would be like to face this guy. Tall, lanky, likes to pitch on the third base side of the rubber, but he still throws across his body. For left-handers, that's just got to be very difficult. As I'm sure it is. He's only given up a couple home runs to left-handers over the last 4 years. I think it's 3.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned a tall guy, 6'6", he weighs $180. And there's that big, slow curveball that, well, that's unfair. And Elvis gone. That was the first strikeout for Sale. 2 away for Joey Gallo.
With a guy like this, you've got to commit, fairly early. When he comes out in the first inning, first pitch is 98 miles an hour. Let's hope he's loose right there and doesn't get any looser than that, because if he does, that means he's going to hit triple digits. And when you've got a fastball like that, it just makes that breaking pitch, whatever it may be, slider, curveball, anything off speed, just makes it that much better.
Well, 2 away. Here's Joey Gallo, who, as we mentioned, made his major league debut against these White Sox down in Arlington 2 weeks ago. He takes ball 1 on the breaking ball. Gallo at 241, 5 home runs, 10 runs driven in, 0 for 3 in his first exposure to Chris Sale. And a rip and a miss. It is 1-1. Joey, those eyes getting a little bigger, and you get something coming out there at 96, 97 miles an hour, that will get your eyes big, won't it?
In a hurry. Try and get him as big and as wide as you possibly can so you can see that little aspirin he's throwing out there.
Joey with 3 home runs in his last 3 hits. Boy, he was right on that breaking ball from Sale and fouled it back. Mac, you always say that almost every at bat you get a pitch to work with or more. This might have been the one that Gallo wanted back.
This is definitely the one he wanted back. You're not going to get much more than 1, especially against a guy like Chris Sale. He'll give you 1 because he's got to get there. And after that, you see there, not a whole lot to do with it.
No, not much you can do about that as Sale gets 2 strikeouts in the first. Rangers gone in order. We played a half inning on the south side. Rangers nothing. White Sox coming up. Tell you about the Amica White Sox lineup tonight.
And leading off, it'd be Adam Eaton for the White Sox. Cabrera will hit second. Abreu will bat third. Adam LaRoche will hit cleanup. Abisail Garcia will hit fifth. Connor Gillespie will hit sixth. Alexi Ramirez will hit seventh. Tyler Flowers will hit eighth. Mr. Sanchez will be batting ninth.
And that lineup will face the 35-year-old veteran right-hander Colby Lewis. Our progressive scouting report shows you that Colby at 6-3, a 4.37 ERA. This is 14th start. Enjoys pitching against these White Sox. How about the last 5 starts? 3-0 against them with a couple of shutouts. Colby command of the slider to this aggressive swinging ball club will dictate how effective he's going to be if Colby can get that pitch in play early. And there's a pretty good example of it there. He gets Adam Eaton on a roller out to second. Nice play by Hanser Alberto, and that is out number 1 to bring up Melky Cabrera. Take a look at the rest of the Ranger defense delivered to you by the New Braunfels Convention and Visitors Bureau. Outfield, Ryan Rua, Leonis Martin, and Shin-Soo Choo. Adam Rosales at first. You saw Hanser Alberto at second. Elvis the shortstop, Joey Gallo at third, and Robinson Chirinos is catching. Melky Cabrera takes a strike. And Ryan Rua just activated off the disabled list today. Rangers made a couple of moves, activating Ryan and bringing up Alex Claudio to shore up the bullpen. There's a good slider again from Colby. Gets that pitch down and into the left-handed swinging Melky Cabrera with good effect. The 0-2 pitch popped up. Gallo coming over, has room on the warning track, now steps back onto the grass, makes the grab. That is the second out.
You know, but we talked about this in the open. The White Sox really have been struggling to score runs. They're last in the major leagues in runs scored in the first inning with 19. And, you know, typically when you're going to win, you're a team that comes out and you're aggressive, you score runs, you like to get on the board first. But that just hasn't panned out too well for the White Sox so far this year.
And here's the guy that the one guy in the middle of the order that has helped Robin Ventura's ball club when they are scoring runs. That's Jose Abreu. Of course, after the bar he set last year, being the rookie of the year in the American League, it's pretty tough to live up to that, but he's trying his best.
He is trying his best. And, you know, he put up some tremendous numbers last year. And to do anything less than that looks like he's having an off year, but that is not the case at all with those 40 RBIs.
Well, there's a good example of his hitting skills right there, reaching out and lining a pitch from Colby into left field for a 2-out single. Oh, Abreu aboard, the first base runner of the night for either ball club.
He leaves the pitch out over the middle of the plate down in the zone, and Abreu jumps all over it, drives it into left field for a single. You can keep this guy hitting singles. That's a good day at the ballpark.
A 1-on, 2-out. Adam LaRoche, who we saw playing a lot of first base in this series in Arlington 2 weeks ago. That was because Jose Abreu was nursing a swollen right index finger. But Abreu back in the healthy list, and so LaRoche back to the DH spot. Adam LaRoche, a .227 average, but he has 8 home runs and has driven in 24. LaRoche 1 for 6 against Colby Lewis. To left field, Rua is going to play it on a hop. And stopping at second is Jose Abreu. So back-to-back 2-out singles. 2 on. And Abisail Garcia is coming up.
LaRoche just got that one and just poked it out there. Fastball out over the middle of the plate towards the outer half. He just poked that one into left field. Second hit of the inning for the White Sox.
A 2-on, 2-out. Garcia, .274 average. 7 home runs, 26 driven in. Came over from the Detroit Tigers. White Sox trying to bolster their outfield a bit, the offensive production, and Garcia seemed to fit that mold pretty well. Colby to the plate. Nice stop by Robinson Chirinos. 1 ball, no strikes. Garcia 0 for 3 against Colby Lewis in his few matchups. Tough month of June, not just for Avisail Garcia, but also for the White Sox as a whole. Garcia hitting just 132. 20 strikeouts in the month of June already. One ball, no strikes. That will even the count. Mentioned Colby against Robin Ventura's ball club as we look at the lowest average during the month of June. The White Sox right at the bottom of the American League with a 202 team average. American League average at 253. Rangers up in the 270 neighborhood. You can see why the White Sox are in a June swoon. They've lost their last 7. And despite that, they're still over 500 here at home. They're 16 and 14 at home. They have had a lot of damage done to their record in the last couple of weeks.
Dropping 7 in a row, that's tough to do when you're not getting, it's tough to win ball games when you're not hitting. Pitching and defense wins ball games, but you've got to get some hits. You've got to score some runs to win those games as well.
Colby's 1-1 pitch. 2-1 now. Mentioned Colby against the White Sox. He's won 5 consecutive starts over the White Sox. He's had a 124 earned run average during that streak. The only 2 complete game shutouts that he has in his career have come right here. He falls behind Avisail Garcia by a 3-1 count. So with Abreu at second, LaRoche at first, 2 outs in the first. Garcia in a hitter's count at 3-1, trying to get aboard for Connor Gillespie. Colby sets at the belt, the 3-1 pitch. And with the count full now and 2 outs, both runners will be off and moving to the next Colby Lewis offering. Now the White Sox currently at 28 and 37. 9 games under 500. That's their low water mark for the year. They're also 11 games back in the American League Central, trailing Kansas City by the most games that they've trailed first place this year. Runners on the move, payoff pitch. Reset and try it again. Rangers, meanwhile, for the first time in a while, lost a game in the standings last night. Their loss to the Dodgers, 1-0 with a walk-off balk in the 9th inning. They're now 3.5 games behind the hot Houston Astros.
I hadn't picked up much ground over the last week or so, but they hadn't lost any either. So that was a good thing. So last night losing a game in the standings was something different, something we hadn't seen in a while.
Colby nods in agreement, sets another 3-2. Got him swinging. Good slider down and away, tipped into Robinson Chirinos' glove, and Colby works around a pair of 2-out singles. 2 left aboard after 1. We are scoreless in Chicago. Another great offer, and for a limited time, $5 tickets are available for the game against the Angels coming up on Sunday, July 5th. Head to TexasRangers.com/treasure chest to buy your tickets, but hurry. This offer expires at 5 p.m. on Monday. Prince Fielder starting things off here in the Rangers' second inning. Scoreless ball game. Chris Sale with a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 first inning. He misses low and away to Fielder. Prince at 344. He's back up in the leadership role for the American League with that average. Fourth in all of Major League Baseball with 344. Lines this one to right field. Garcia to his right. There to make the grab for out number one. Well, Prince hit it on the nose, but has nothing to show for it.
Wow. Rocket. Had a 2-0 fastball from Sale, and he drilled it into right field. Almost got caught in the lights here. Garcia, you see him start to slow down here right at the end.
He's slowing down, waiting for it to come out of the bottom of the lights? Is that when he gets down there?
Well, these lights here, you know, there are a lot of lights that, for every ballpark, the lights are different. They're basically in the same spot, but there's spacing in between certain lights in certain ballparks. And this is one of those ballparks where it's tough to continue to watch the ball when it goes in the lights.
Right.
But there are others that have some spacing in there. So even though the ball goes in that bank of lights, you can wait for it and hopefully come out and take a chance to see it. But this ballpark is a little bit difficult to do that.
Well, with one out, here's the Sale killer, Adam Rosales. And we're not talking about a bad merchandise product. Rosales 244. He takes a strike from Chris Sale. 1-2. Adam 3 home runs, 7 driven in against Chris Sale. How about being a 500 hitter? 7 for 14 with 3 home runs. 2-2.
You know, there's just certain guys that you hit that way against. And there are certain pitchers you have no luck. You'll be 0 for 50 with 30 punch outs. Well, hopefully not that many, because your managers figured that pattern out long before that.
Well, Adams going to add one more strikeout to his total against Sale. The left-hander gets his 3rd punch out of the night. 2nd called, 3rd strike. 2 gone for Ryan Rua.
Sale trying to go down and away. That ball comes back over the plate. Rosie thought it was a little bit inside.
Well, here's Ryan Rua. His first at bat is coming off the inactive list, the disabled list today. Nothing in one. Ryan, in a short sample this year, a 235 average. Swing and a miss there. It's 0-2. Rua had been on the 60-day DL, that ankle problem. Been on rehab assignments. Hit 175 with a couple of home runs in 12 games on rehab work with Round Rock. That's out of play. Rangers were getting Ryan some repetitions at places other than the outfield. They had him start at third base some, and left field, also at DH and first base. So trying to get him a little accustomed to moving around a bit.
You know, when you've got a versatile player like that, it just gives the manager more options. You could put a guy in left field, you can put him in right field, you can put him at third base and first base. Keep that bat in the lineup, number one, but it gives you the opportunity to make other moves as well with your roster.
And there's the Sale changeup, and he gets his 4th strikeout. A 2 in each of the first 2 innings. Rangers again gone in order. After a 1.5, Rangers nothing, White Sox nothing.
Bottom of the second here at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. It's a very, very special night here at the ballpark. It is mullet night, and I am always looking to embrace whatever is going on at the ballparks that we visit. So here I am.
Yeah, that's a good look on
all of my mullet glory.
Yeah. That is fabulous.
Business in the front, party in the back. $10 I contributed to the White Sox Children's Charities and the Ronald McDonald Children's Charities. So always looking to support a good cause, make a fool of myself, all for you guys. Happy, happy mullet night.
Yeah,
I'm delirious because we got in at 7 o'clock in the morning, for goodness sake.
Em, you got more than your money's worth from that.
I
That
think
is
so
great
too.
looking.
I
really
think
is.
so too. I mean, I've always wondered what I would look like with a mullet.
You accomplished your goal there.
And now we all know.
Yes,
Have you
we
really
do.
wondered about that?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't. But I would love to bring this up to you guys and let you model it and see what you would look like in a mullet.
That'd be great. Why don't we do that next week?
We could do
I
that.
think so.
Like
I
on
think
Monday.
so.
Monday,
Like on
perfect
Monday.
day.
Really? All right, boys. I'm going to go.
Wow. Look, well, I'll say this. Emily had the best looking mullet going.
That was pretty good.
The minute we saw. Meanwhile, Connor Gillespie made the first out of the inning by grounding out to Adam Rosales. So one away. Here's Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop for the White Sox. Colby just missing inside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Ramirez struggling this year offensively, and I guess that's kind of a broken record for White Sox hitters. 226 with a couple of home runs. Check your swing. He did not check it in time. The appeal went out to first base, and the right hand was thrown up down there. And it's Phil Cuzzy, the first base umpire. A ball and 2 strikes. Alexei Ramirez, one of the top shortstops in the American League in the last several years. He has the longest tenured White Sox at this time. Takes in the dirt, and it's 3-2. Ramirez hitting 7th in the order, trying to get aboard for the White Sox catcher. That's Tyler Flowers. Colby reading the signs. The right-hander goes to the wind. Ramirez counterpart Elvis Andrews on across the diamond. 2 gone. Elvis with his first chance to loosen himself up tonight. That play flawlessly. Rangers on a pretty good streak defensively, and that's been one of the reasons why they have been consistently in the win column. Now with 8 straight games without an error. And that's their longest streak since they had 9 in a row back in 2013. So we're talking about some pretty significant time now.
Yeah, they've been catching the baseball, and that definitely translates into more wins. And I think you can speak to this, Buzz. That gives that pitcher a little bit more confidence, knowing that, hey, if I make a mistake or if I hit my spot, these guys behind me are going to catch the ball and make the play.
Sure. And Mac, we talked about the starting rotation, the numbers they've been putting up. They haven't improved much, and they've been more consistent with 13 quality starts and 14 outings now, and that's a big part of it. Where you don't worry about making mistakes because you know if you do, the defense probably is going to handle it for you.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand. They're able to go deeper into ball games because they're not making errors or catching the baseball, so fewer pitches.
Yeah.
So I think that goes hand in hand. So it definitely starts on the mound, but the guys behind them, they've got to play that solid defense, and the Rangers have been doing that.
Colby back to Flowers. Joey Gallo with his first chance tonight. Low throw, and it gets by Rosales. And down to second goes Flowers. I think we just put the kiss of death on him.
I think we did.
Joey Gallo, boy, Joey just threw a sinker over there. Adam Rosales had no chance to come up with that throw. And Flowers will take second on the 2-base error.
Joey just kind of got under that throw there, just bounced it. Rosie not much of a chance to kick it.
Oh, Joey Gallo now with his 5th error at third base. Flowers at second, 2 outs. And Carlos Sanchez, the second baseman, switch hitter up there from the left side. Sanchez hitting just 141. Sanchez no home runs this year, 6 runs driven in. He is 0 for 3 lifetime against Colby. Sanchez did establish a career high for himself against the Rangers down in Arlington. A couple of RBI in a ball game. Lofts this one to center field. Jonas Martin camps underneath it. That will do it. So the error, no problem. Just a couple of extra pitches for Colby Lewis. 3 left aboard now for the White Sox. Will go to the third, still scoreless. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. I kind of liked Emily's a little bit better than that. The blonde mullet doesn't do much for that guy.
Not for the guy. I'd like to see him in the blonde mullet.
Yeah, that'd be a different look for her.
Yeah, he's not rocking it too well.
No. Robinson Chirinos starting things off for the Rangers here in the 3rd inning. Sale has retired the first 6 that he has faced and misses inside. Dear Robinson, 2 balls and no strikes. Chirinos, a .212 batting average. He has been swinging the bat very effectively of late. Robinson getting that batting average up some 20 points in his last 5 ball games. He's gone 6 for 17. Not much luck against Chris Sale in a small sample for his career, just 0 for 2. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. You remember the last time the Rangers faced Chris Sale down in Arlington. It was not a fun night for the Ranger hitters then either. Sale worked 7 shutout innings, struck out 12. Lanky left-hander started into the windup. He had to stop.
It's always a challenge when you're facing a guy with great stuff like Sale, and when you see him a couple of times in a week's time or a couple weeks' time, it doesn't really make it that much easier. Typically, when you see a pitcher more and more, you figure out what those patterns are. But a guy like Sale, and there's some guys that are like him. It's still difficult each and every time. It's an adventure.
3-2 pitch. And we will try it again.
You really go into games like this thinking or hoping, hey, maybe he's going to be off a little bit tonight. Maybe he'll leave a few more pitches out over the plate than he typically does. But if he does that, you've got to take advantage of it because he's going to make those adjustments throughout the game.
I think I said he struck out 12. He struck out 13. Uh-oh. That bat is history. Connor Gillespie hangs on to the lip line drive, but boy, that bat just exploded in Robinson's hands.
Wow.
Well, one out, Leonis Martin coming up. Before we tell you about him, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, Leonis Martin showing bunt on the first pitch from Chris Sale, which was a breaking ball. Leonis still second in the American League with the 5 bunt base hits. Sale behind in the count now, 2-0. Leonis in a pretty good offensive downturn of late. He has gone 0 for his last 14 times up there with 6 strikeouts. Not a good guy to try to bust a slump against. Chris Sale can be tough on anybody, but when you're not swinging well, it's doubly tough. 2-2.
And Martin, tends to, when he has these streaks of where he's 0 for 10 or 0 for 15, he's typically getting a longer swing instead of that short, compact swing that that he uses when he's swinging the bat well. And you may know exactly what you're doing wrong, but it's not that easy to fix it, especially when you're facing a guy like this.
What would you feel like? What would that feel like to a hitter when he's in that kind of a funk, the longer swing?
Well, really, it feels like you have no chance. That's what it feels like.
You feel like you can't catch up with the ball?
You're trying to catch up to it, and you're using a lot more body. You're coming around the ball. There are a lot of different things that you can do, but you feel like, hey, what am I doing? Sometimes it feels like you may not even have a bat in your hand because there's so much body involved in your swing.
Our Kubota Power Stats, and talking about Chris Sale, one of just 3 pitchers, as we mentioned, since 1914 to strike out 12 or more in 4 straight games. Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson, the other 2 that have done that, both of them in 5 straight games, and Chris Sale bidding to join them here tonight. He has 5 strikeouts through the first 8 hitters that he's faced. Hanser Alberto at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hanser at 271. Alberto, no home runs and 3 driven in. 2 balls and a strike.
Sale's working pretty fast. He's getting that ball, getting back up on the mound, getting the sign, and going. So when you're facing a guy like this, you really want to try to break up that rhythm. You don't want to stand in that box and just let him keep firing away. You want to try and break him up a little bit. Maybe call timeout when he starts into his windup. But you've got to do something on the offensive side to shake him up and get him out of that rhythm.
2-2 pitch now. And the count is full. So Sale in this inning has gone to 3 ball counts on a couple of hitters.
Yeah, and I say that like it's easy. It's really not that easy. It's not as easy as it sounds because pitchers of this caliber, they tend not to let that bother them.
And on the 3rd straight full count pitch, he gets his 2nd strikeout of inning 6. Going down against Chris Sale via the strikeout. Rangers are gone in order in the 3rd after 2.5, no score. take on the A's on Tuesday. That's the 23rd. And that night, the first 15,000 fans receive a Prince Fielder bobblehead. It's the first bobblehead giveaway of the season. It's courtesy of Dr. Pepper and Brookshire's. Make sure to get your tickets now. Don't miss the first bobblehead giveaway of the season. Go to TexasRangers.com/tickets or call 972-RANGERS. Colby Lewis to work here in the third. He's facing the top of the order for the second time. Adam Eaton began things by rolling out to second. White Sox with a couple of hits, both of them coming in the first. One error committed by the Rangers. Eaton takes a strike on the inner corner. The White Sox, in acquiring Adam Eaton, figured, well, we've got our center field problem and our leadoff problem solved. And Eaton just having a devil of a time this year. Got off to a good start with the White Sox last year, but it has not been the case of late. He's just 1 for 6 on this current homestand. This is the third game of the homestand for the White Sox. And he goes down swinging as Colby Lewis hung a breaking ball up there, but it was enough off speed that Eaton couldn't get to it. One gone.
Colby going with the breaking ball, trying to get it down and in underneath his hands and underneath the bat. Left it up there hanging. Eaton still couldn't do anything with it.
A second strikeout for the Ranger right-hander. Colby now will go to work against Milky Cabrera. And strike one. Cabrera fouled out to Joey Gallo his first time up there. Nothing in 2. Cabrera showing signs of late of eating things up. He's driven in 6 runs over his last 10 games and seen him hit to a .343 average. One of the few White Sox you can say is starting to turn things around. Good breaking ball by Colby Lewis. That back foot slider and Milky Cabrera gone. Back-to-back strikeouts. 2 away for Jose Abreu.
Colby getting comfortable in locating that breaking ball down and in. That's a very tough pitch for left-handers to lay off of, especially with 2 strikes. I think it's right there. You're going to hit it. And it gets close to that back angle.
2 up, 2 away. That's now 3 straight retired and 6 out of 7. Jose Abreu had the first White Sox hit back in the first inning. Reached out and poked one to left field, a fairly well struck line drive. And you keep this guy in the ballpark and consider that a success. Dozen home runs this year for the big slugger. Colby back to him. And misses high and tight. 2-1.
Yeah, if you're going to identify anybody on a team, or especially this team, that you're not going to let beat you, Abreu's that guy. Not saying the other guys can't do damage, but Abreu is the big horse in their lineup.
Oh, good slider. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yeah, and Abreu, may not have the length of service that would necessitate the kind of respect that he gets, but he certainly has the numbers to put up. He had 36 home runs and 107 RBI last year in his quote-unquote rookie campaign. 2-2 from Colby, and it's fouled back. And I say quote-unquote because out of Cuba, he played the Cuban major leagues essentially down there for a number of years. Well, you put up some numbers down there that are video game worthy.
That tells you a guy can hit. If he can hit there, he can be able to do some damage here, and he proved that last year.
Call strike 3. Boy, Abreu frozen at home plate. And he is gone. Colby strikes out the side in order. We finished 3 in Chicago. No score, Rangers and White Sox. Before we get going, let's take a look at tonight's Coors Light Cold Hard Fact, brought to you by Crisp Clean Coors Light. Robin Ventura, three-time All-American at Oklahoma State. Hit over 400 in both his freshman and sophomore seasons. About that, a 58-game hitting streak. That's pretty good.
58 games, anything is pretty good.
Showing up 58 straight games, that's pretty good. Still stands as an NCAA record, I would hope so. Robin Ventura, one of the publications, the all-time college third baseman. Quite a career, and came up and had a great career at the major league level with these White Sox. Shin-Soo Choo grounds out. Now Elvis Andrus is coming up. That ground ball by Choo, the first time that Rangers have put the ball on the ground against Sale tonight, which, considering his stuff, is a little unusual. But of course, when you couple 6 strikeouts with a few flyouts, you can understand that. Mac, winning a ball game, okay, Sale is not allowed a base runner. When do you think it's okay, and what's the deadline for trying to drop down a bunt for a base hit like Elvis just did?
Well, I was going to say anytime now.
Second time up?
Yeah, second time up for sure. I mean, you see how you see what he's doing already. He's got 6 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. You've got to try to break up the rhythm or something. Get him off the mound, make him feel the ball. You never know. That may throw his timing or rhythm off. You've got to try something to keep that guy from getting deeper into the ball game, especially if you're a guy that can bunt. But you've got to try something different, because obviously the first 3 innings, whatever they were trying, didn't work too well.
Didn't work too well, did it?
No.
Well, Choo can bunt, certainly. Elvis very good at it. Leonis Martin very good at it. So, the old thing about, well, you don't break up a perfect game or a no-hitter with a bunt base hit after a certain time in the ball game.
Yeah, I think that would probably be about the 7th inning.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it then. You want to swing the bat if you're going to break it up. But, this is definitely not too early. You have plenty of games where there are no hits, in the first 3 or even 4, and sometimes even the 5th inning.
Right.
So you can do it, then. But once you start getting around that 7th inning, that's when you start saying, okay, I can't do it this way. I've got to swing it to get a hit.
Elvis taking high and outside. That runs the count full now. And Sale, 3 of the last 4 hitters, or 4 of the last 5 hitters, has gone to a full count. Elvis trying to get a board in front of Joey Gallo here in the 4th inning. Payoff pitch coming. Right off the end of the bat. And Abreu has it go off his glove. A backhanded flip, and they got it. What a play by Jose Abreu. He butchered the ball and then picked it up with a no-look flip. Hit Sale perfectly in stride for the out.
Wow. Elvis hit a squibber, hit it off the end of the bat, and those are the toughest ones to field because the ball's got a lot of spin on them, so they'll hit your glove and catch and take off, just like it did there with Abreu. But he knew where first base was. He knew his pitcher, Sale, was covering, and that was really his only play, and great play on both ends.
Yeah, and Sale barehanded that. Put a big mitt out there and caught it with his bare hand. How about that?
Wow, look at that.
No, that is a very exciting second out. Now Joey Gallo. Gallo called out on strikes, his first time to the plate. Joey for the season at .236 average. A lot of breaking balls from Sale, and inning by inning, you can see the breakdown pitch count wise: 15, 14, 19, and 11 here in the 4th. Very economical for a guy that gets that many strikeouts. 2-1 to Gallo. Sale, a deep sigh, and another breaking ball. You're going to see a pattern like that against Joey Gallo from almost everybody. Keep it away, 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 and an occasional pitch up and in, but that's the predominant area where guys are going to try to exploit.
And this is, pitchers making adjustments. That's what big league pitchers do.
Ball strike 3. Gallo trying to work his way out toward first, and it came back to catch the inside corner. 7 strikeouts for Chris Sale. He's perfect through 4. No score in Chicago. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among mid-sized cars. A scoreless ball game as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Colby Lewis and Chris Sale matching zeros here at U.S. Cellular Field. And Adam LaRoche takes strike 1. LaRoche poked a soft single to left back in the 1st inning. Colby right down at the feet of LaRoche. As the veteran left-handed hitter dances out of the way. For LaRoche, that base hit in the first snapped an offer that he had been in his homestand. Yeah, he hits one to right, but playing in shallow right, Anzer Alberto throws out Adam LaRoche for the first out.
Well, Colby being just as effective as Sale. Maybe not as many strikeouts. Colby's got 4 of them, but he's getting the outs, and that's really what matters, get the outs. Colby's done a fine job of that so far tonight.
Chris Sale taking it in from back there on the bench, the White Sox dugout. Colby now has retired 5 straight, and he faces Avisail Garcia. Takes outside. The slider missed. 1 ball and no strikes. Garcia went down swinging at that slider first time up. Colby starting to work quickly too. Nice backhand by Gallo. Sets long throw. Not in time. That was a great effort. And scurrying around the Ranger dugout, Jeff Bannister had Steve Buechele get immediately on the phone with Joey Probinski upstairs. Must have thought that was close enough to at least take a look at it.
Yeah, great play by Gallo. Gets over there. Momentum kind of carried him a little bit. Great throw. Like what he did there, he used the ground so he wouldn't overthrow it, but give himself to get the out over there at first base. Great play by Joey. Maybe just not in time. Nice backhand, gathered himself. One hop over to Rosie. That's a big league play there.
And an infield single for Garcia. And, obviously, after watching that replay a couple times, there's no reason to challenge that. So 1 on, 1 out. Connor Gillespie at the plate. He lines one to left center field. Long run for Leonis Martin. It's over his head and 1 hop off the wall. Garcia being waved around third. Here comes the relay throw from Elvis. The tag. He is out at the plate.
Wow, that's beautiful.
What a relay throw from Leonis Martin to Elvis Andrus to Robinson Chirinos.
That's a great play. The Rangers have been very, very good at that double cut, at that relay throw, throwing runners out over the last 2 years. It's just textbook when they go to work and do that.
And Robin Ventura out there jawing a little bit. Oh, what a play.
Wow.
Ventura might be questioning about where Chirinos was set up before he got the ball, if he was blocking home plate illegally. And they're not going to take a look at it. Can't execute it much better than that, can you, Matt?
You really can't. Leonis hits that cutoff man, hits the lead man, which is Elvis, and you see Alberto right there behind him just in case it bounces or goes over his head. And then Elvis with a nice arm, one of the best arms at shortstop, makes a perfect throw to Chirinos at the plate for the out.
No, that play keeps this a scoreless ball game. Gillespie now at second base with 2 outs. Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, will step in. Ramirez, a ground ball to his counterpart, Elvis Andrus, his first time up. 1 ball, no strikes. Well, Gillespie, despite getting a double, had an RBI taken away from him by some excellent defense by the Rangers. Ramirez, 24 RBI this year. Colby okays the sign. A check of second. He misses down and away. Look at what Alexei Ramirez has been able to do. Last year is 74 RBI for the All-Star shortstop. That's his career high. I take that back. He had 77 his first year with the White Sox in 2008. In at the knees. It is 2-1. Ramirez, like Abreu, a native of the island of Cuba. Lewis, a belt high set. Slowly hit up the middle off the mound, so it caroms a little more toward Elvis. Makes it just a little bit easier, and Elvis a nice play. That'll do it. So some great defense for the Rangers in the 4th. Keeps this a scoreless ball game. An 8-6-2 put out at the dish. On to the 5th. No score.
At U.S. Cellular Field, and it is a very special anniversary, and kind of around these parts. That is the 41st anniversary of Mr. Steve Busby's second no-hitter, which happened not too far from here. Was Milwaukee, I do believe, wasn't it, Buzz? no-hitter number 2 as we take a look back at the AT&T Uverse Rewind. Take me back to that day 41 years ago, Buzz. Take me back.
Yeah, it was a fun night. I've got to say that. Pitching against a team that was having struggles offensively, kind of like the White Sox are right now. And everything just kind of fell into place. Every ball that was hit hard was hit at somebody. Got guys running all over the outfield. Amos Otis, now Callens running balls down, right center, left center, everywhere. George Brett going behind the bag at third and throwing people out. A fun night. Fun night. Doesn't seem like 41 years ago. Seems like 61. No, that's not right.
Because when did you know that you had the stuff that night to be able to throw a no-hitter?
Heck, I never really paid any attention to my stuff, to be quite honest. Other than I never thought I had the stuff to throw a no-hitter. I was completely surprised, more surprised than anybody else at the first one, and then even more surprised than that at the second one. I just never considered myself a kind of guy to throw a no-hitter. But you know when your command is good. The first no-hitter, I was wild as a March hare, and it was a surprise every time I threw a strike. The second one, I really had pretty good command. I walked George Scott in the first inning, and that was the only base runner. I was around the plate, so I knew that. But as I said, there were a lot of good plays made that made it a no-hitter, made it turn into that.
Buzz, you've got to be the most humble guy to ever throw 2 no-hitters.
2 no-hitters.
I firmly believe that. If I threw 2 no-hitters, even one, I would have it tattooed across my forehead. Like, look at me, I threw a no-hitter. How you doing?
Yeah, but Em, I couldn't wear a mullet as well as you did.
Touche.
We've
all got our strengths.
That's right.
We've all got our strengths.
That's right. Chris Sale with 2 quick outs here in the 5th inning. Now Ryan Rua will come up.
Got to be something. I was looking at that celebration, and gosh, guys celebrate more when they just hit a single now than you guys did for a no-hitter.
Well, it was very rare to have people come out on the field to celebrate. You're always concerned about showing up the other team, so all the celebrations were down in the dugout or up the tunnel. And that's changed a little bit.
Just a little bit.
0-1 the count to Rua. Yeah, this one guy that was coming around, one guy was trying to swipe hats, and Galen Cisco, our pitching coach, decided that I probably wanted to have that hat. High throw, Rua out of pretty fancy footwork over at first by Abreu. A 1-2-3 inning, first inning that Sale has not struck out a hitter. We have finished 5, no score, and thanks, guys, for putting that up. I appreciate it. 24th. Rangers take on the Oakland A's that night, so head on out to Globe Life Park for some summer fun and enjoy the ballpark hot dogs that night, all you can eat for just $1 each. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Tyler Flowers starting off the White Sox fifth inning. Scoreless ball game. Rangers have been shut down completely by Chris Sale, who's retired the first 15 in order. Colby Lewis, with a little help from his friends last inning, has put zeros up on the board. Tyler Flowers reached on a throwing error by Joey Gallo his first time up. And he hammers that one deep to left field. He's going to put the White Sox out in front 1-0. Tyler Flowers with his 4th home run of the year. Colby Lewis and the Rangers trail 1-0.
Colby left the breaking ball up. Tyler Flowers didn't miss that one. Right at the top of the zone. Trying to go down and away with it. Tyler Flowers puts the White Sox up 1-0.
Yeah, the slider giveth and the slider taketh away. Leave it up there and it's going to take away. Flowers getting on that pitch pretty well. A little looping drive to shortstop. Elvis a bare hand. He will throw out Carlos Sanchez. That's out number 1. Adam Eaton will be next, and let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, here it's the White Sox leading 1-0. That for the White Sox, their first lead in 5 games. Adam Eaton 0 for 2 tonight. He has struck out and grounded out. Eaton now a .240 hitter, facing Colby for the 3rd time this evening. One ball and 1 strike. Eaton, at least lately, has been getting on base a little bit more frequently. Has been on base safely in his last 8 ball games, 8 hits and 5 walks. White Sox, however, have not been able to bring him around to score. Colby with the 2-1 pitch. Drops that one in 2-2. Eaton's batting average starting to rise just a bit. He's .280 over the last 36 ball games. Lewis to the wind, now time called. Tyler Flowers leading off the 5th inning with his 4th home run of the year. A towering blast to left. White Sox with a 1-0 lead. Colby going down and in to Adam Eaton, and the count is full. So with 1 out, Eaton trying to get aboard here in the 5th inning. Melky Cabrera, the left fielder, is waiting to be next. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Went up the ladder. Eaton couldn't reach it. That's out number 2. Colby now with his 5th strikeout of the night.
Colby being very effective with his pitches. Wanted to go down the way. Left it out over the plate, a little up. Eaton still can't catch up to it.
Cabrera is swinging a miss there. He has struck out and fouled out his first 2 times up. 13 combined strikeouts now between Colby Lewis and Chris Sale in the first almost 5 innings tonight. Cabrera turns on one and hits it a mile foul and long. That's a hitter trying to make sure he gets the head of the bat out, and he did. 0-2. Saw Robinson Chirinos setting that target up high. He wanted that fastball up, and that's exactly where Colby gave it to him. And now he wants the slider down and in. Right down in there, and Cabrera would have nothing to do with it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's pretty classic pitching right there.
Classic pitching, and I think Cabrera was thinking along right with him.
Now the pitch is of decision right here for the hitter and the pitcher. Call strike 3. Cabrera looking for something other than what Lewis threw, and that was a strike. But the White Sox get on the board. Flowers' home run will go to the 6th. 1-0 White Sox. Slam inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $1,000 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Philip Kinsey from Nakona will win $1,000. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam during the inning, Philip's going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Chris Sale, a perfect 15 up, 15 retired. He faces the bottom third of the Ranger order. Robinson Chirinos takes a breaking ball for strike 1. Chris Sale now a different kind of streak. We've been talking about the streak of 12 or more strikeout games. He's got a streak of having struck out a hitter, at least one hitter, in 32 straight innings. It's pretty good for starting pitching.
That's not bad. Not bad.
Well, usually those things are reserved for relief pitchers. Come in and throw an inning here, an inning there, and get a strikeout and run that thing. They run that streak out a long way. But for a starter, that's, well, you strike out at least one hitter in an inning 32 straight times. That's pretty good.
You're doing something.
1 ball, 2 strikes. The count to Chirinos. Robinson popped out to third base. His first time up there.
I'm going to try something here, Buzz. We don't have a hit yet, do we?
No, we don't have a hit tonight, Matt.
Right.
Nope.
Just checking on that.
Matter of fact, if you want to go a step further, we don't have a base runner tonight.
You're right.
2-2. All you need to do now is stand up and give him the old evil eye. A little whammy out there.
I got the whammy. You do the evil eye. I can do the whammy thing.
2-2 pitch to Chirinos. Sanchez on to a Brady. 1 gone. Well, I'm going to think of something else.
Yeah,
maybe it's a cumulative effect. Let's hope.
It doesn't have to be right away, right then.
See if you get Leonis to drop down a bunt. Drag one toward first. Beat it out. Martinez strike out his first time. 0 for 15 now as the streak that Leonis is in. pretty good rip at that pitch. Connor Gillespie, the third baseman, playing in front of the bag at third.
This is one of those, as a hitter, you're like, that might be the only pitch I'm going to get to hit.
That one almost hit Leonis when he swung it.
That was not the one you really wanted to swing at.
Boy. You find pitchers will do that. You have a big swing, and all of a sudden the next pitch is a little bit more inside, a little tougher to handle. Here, you want to try and take a big swing at it, try and swing this. It's fouled out of play.
And in there again.
Yep.
That's how you get a lot of firewood.
The way bats are breaking today, you can go through about 4 or 5 bats again at bat if you're not careful. Another 0-2 pitch. Left that breaking ball up. Leonis has had a couple of pitches this at bat to handle. He swung through or fouled him off.
Breaking ball, he got out in front of it just a little bit. Second good pitch he had to hit.
He's swinging. Fastball up and away. Still a lot of stamina out there for Sale. That's a 97. And he has 9 strikeouts. 2 away for Hanser Alberto.
Flowers get up high, want that call for that fastball up in the zone. Tough to lay off over 2 strikes.
Hanser Alberto also a strikeout his first time. That's out of play to the right. Hanser, 267 with the average. Sale back to him. Little looper into center field, a base hit. It worked.
It worked. There we go.
Finally. Finally. Hanser Alberto, just a looping single to center field. And the crowd here at U.S. Cellular very appreciative of the effort put forth by Chris Sale. 5 2/3 of perfect baseball tonight before Hanser Alberto hits a single to center field.
Alberto staying on this pitch down. Off speed to changeup. Looks like down low. Alberto just dumps it into center field. Soft line drive. It looked like a line drive tomorrow.
Yeah, sure will. They don't have any style points in the box score for that. Well, the Rangers are their first base runner. Now Shin-Soo Choo takes outside for ball 1. Choo tonight has flied to center field, grounded to second. 0 for 2, hitting at 238. Choo again in that leadoff spot. He has been in the leadoff spot ever since Delino de Shields went down with a hamstring pull. Choo as a leadoff hitter this year, hitting 295. This is his 22nd start in that number 1 spot. It's also the 5th straight game now that he's been up there. 2-0 the count. Now 2-1.
All right, so would I be stretching it here if I said, you know, we don't have a run yet?
No, I think that's very observant of you, man.
Thank you.
On top of being what we need. Choo takes a strike at the knees, that changeup floating in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I don't know, is there that kind of a whammy on shutouts? No, there is on perfect game for no
Yes.
hitter.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially tonight.
Got him swinging. Strikeout number 10 for Chris Sale. And he continues his mastery. He does give up a hit, Hanser Alberto, but he's stranded at first. Bottom of the 6th coming up, 1-0 Chicago. One of the best savings this season. You can save nearly 50% on 4 tickets, 4 jumbo hot dogs, 4 Coke soft drinks, 2 Kid Zones wristbands, and 1 souvenir program. Just visit TexasRangers.com/specials and get your Coca-Cola family packs for the games June 23rd through 25th against the Oakland A's. Colby Lewis working to Jose Abreu here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Chicago on top 1-0. Abreu a single and a strikeout tonight. White Sox with a run on 5 hits against Colby, and Abreu hits a towering fly ball to shallow left center field. Elvis going out, still going out. Neither outfielder called him off. Leonis Martin and Ryan Ruiz standing there being spectators, and Elvis saying, "Hey, what's going on here? Somebody call me off. You guys are standing around."
You know, he's absolutely right. That's an outfielder's ball. That's Martin's ball. Outfielders have priority over infielders, and when you see an infielder go out there, he's out 50, 60 feet, and you see both outfielders standing around wondering what's going on. That's the outfielder's ball. Period. Plain and simple. You've got to call him off because he's going back. You're coming in. It's a much more difficult play for that infielder to make that play than the outfielder.
Unfortunately, Elvis able to hang on to it. 1 out now. And Atlanta LaRoche, a pop-up, foul territory. Gallo right at the railing, and he can't hang on to it. Oh, he did get it. I thought it dropped out of his glove.
Wow, I didn't think he touched it at all, actually. Nice long arms. Beautiful.
Joey kind of sneaking up on that railing, trying to locate that and locate the ball at the same time.
Wow, got it right there on the heel.
Nice play.
Beautiful. Of course, not getting any help from the fans.
No. Nice play, Joey Gallo. No, 2 outs. Abisael Garcia now up there, 1 for 2 tonight. Garcia struck out in the first, had an infield single in the 4th inning. 276 the season average for the White Sox right fielder. Softly into center. Leonis Martin coming in a hurry. Makes the catch, and a very quick 6-pitch inning for Colby Lewis as he sends the White Sox down in the 6th. On to the 7th we go. 1-0 Chicago. Now our 4th game summary tonight, and an awful lot of Chris Sale. As a matter of fact, a little too much as far as the Rangers were concerned. Sale with just 1 base hit allowed. That was a 2-out single by Hanser Alberto in the 6th inning, and also 10 strikeouts. Colby Lewis, 1 mistake that got hit, and it got hit high and deep by Tyler Flowers. The difference in the ballgame, Flowers' 4th home run of the year in the 5th inning. So 1-0 White Sox lead as Elvis Andrus starts off the Rangers' 7th inning. Elvis a strikeout and a ground out. Skies to right field, toward the line, long run for Garcia. And just in fair territory, puts it away, 1 pitch and 1 away. Let's take a look at our T-Mobile game changer tonight, and none other than Chris Sale. 10 strikeouts tonight. His 6th consecutive game with 10 or more strikeouts. That's a franchise record. He also is the first pitcher since Randy Johnson back in 2002 to have 10 Ks and 6 straight starts. First pitch to Joey Gallo is in for a strike. Gallo has struck out both times that he has faced Sale tonight. I guess to put it in with Sale's performance in a little different perspective, White Sox have been around since the beginning of the American League back in 1903. Chris Sale now has 25 games of 10 or more strikeouts. That is almost double the next closest pitcher for the White Sox in their franchise history.
That's pretty good. There have been a lot of great players that come through here. Played Comiskey and played for this White Sox organization. Chris Sale will be where he is already. That's pretty impressive.
Strikeout number 11 for Sale, 2 away. Prince Fielder coming up. Our Ford leaderboard, this is up to date now. The American League leaders, Chris Sale and Chris Archer, Tampa Bay, both with 116 punch-outs. Corey Kluber, last year's Cy Young winner, with 111. Fielder up the middle. That's a base hit for Prince. Fielder's hit the ball hard 2 of the 3 times tonight. He has a base hit finally to show for it. Also lined out to right field in the 2nd inning. So Prince 1 out of 3 with a 2-out base hit in this 7th inning.
Prince jumps on that first heater. Inside part of the plate, takes it back up the middle. Second ball he hit hard. That first at bat, he drilled one into the gap in right center field, and Garcia ran it down.
Little tapper, Sale bouncing off, throws out Adam Rosales. Nice play by the 26-year-old left-hander. A hit with a runner left. We'll take the stretch here at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago. The White Sox 1, the Rangers nothing. Every night in baseball, but on one night, they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. And you still have time to vote for Prince Fielder, Adrian Beltre, Mitch Moreland and company. Send them to Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic. Colby Lewis back to the hill. Colby has been very good tonight. He was allowed just the 1 run on 5 hits. Dealing to Connor Gillespie. Get a ground ball to second. Easy play for Hanser Alberto. And Gillespie now 1 out of 3 with that ground out. Alexi Ramirez coming to the plate, but first of all, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Toronto playing some pretty good ball, too. First ball swinging, Alexi Ramirez high in the air to right. Shin-Soo Choo calling off Hanser Alberto. 2 gone. Tyler Flowers will be next.
Good communication there between infielder and outfielder. Choo coming in all the way and had that one. Got Alberto out of the way. Still a tough sky right now. Even tougher. I played in Elvis, but it's getting darker, but it's still a tough sky right now.
Just enough of the twilight left to help the baseball blend in against that pale blue sky. Tyler Flowers, the difference in the ball game. Last time up, he got a hanging slider from Colby Lewis and didn't miss it. Hit it way out of the ballpark down the left field line. 4th home run of the year, now 14 RBI. 2 balls and no strikes. And since then, Colby Lewis has retired the last 8 that he's faced. 2-0 pitch. 2-1. Echo pitch tracker showing you Colby right around the periphery of that strike zone. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Flowers just a 174 average in his last 21 ball games. Full count. Flowers trying to get aboard with 2 outs. Carlos Sanchez, the second baseman, will follow in the order. Payoff pitch. Elvis a dive. He scrambles up, throws, not in time. Oh, what a great effort by Elvis Andrus. He is playing as good a shortstop as you want to see.
He's picking it out there. He's going back on balls, coming in, diving to his left, diving to his right. You see him bounce up, make a nice throw over to Rosie at first. Flowers got down that line just a little bit too fast. Great play on Elvis's part. I didn't think he was going to be able to get to it, actually.
Yeah.
And not only did he get to it, he made it close. See him cover that ground, reach out at the last minute. The recovery is the tough part. Going out there, laying out, catching the ball. But here, getting up and then being able to find where first base is, knowing where it is, and getting up and being able to make that throw. That's the tough part.
Oh, just the 6th hit of the night allowed by Colby Lewis. A couple of them have been infield variety. Flowers at first. Carlos Sanchez 0 for 2, a fly ball and a ground out. 0-1 pitch to him. Line drive, base hit to right field. Flowers will stop at second. 3rd time tonight that the White Sox have put together back-to-back hits. Have not scored at any of those 3 times yet. Folks, tomorrow the 3rd round coverage of the 115th U.S. Open Championship from Chambers Bay begins at 1 o'clock only on your local Fox station. Or you can watch all the action on your phone or tablet with Fox Sports Go. A lot of great action from Chambers Bay up there outside Tacoma, Washington. A 2-on, 2-out here in the 7th. Top of the order now, Adam Eaton coming up for his 4th time tonight. Couple of strikeouts, a ground ball to second for Eaton. That is pulled foul outside first. That's Darrell Boston, the first base coach. 0-1 to Eaton. Eaton has Tyler Flowers at second, Carlos Sanchez at first. Colby back to the plate and fires a strike. White Sox this year 7th in the American League with runners in scoring position. They're getting 256 coming into play tonight. Colby okays the sign and the 0-2. That'll be out of play down the left side. Eaton getting back in the batter's box, tap on the plate with the business into that bat. Colby reading the signs. And now we'll deal another 0-2 pitch. High and tight. Shave a little bit of that beard off of Adam Eaton.
Wow, got away a little bit. Colby just trying to go up in the zone, not necessarily in. Hung on to it, just yanked it just a little bit. It used to be back in the day, Buzz, if it was 0-2, there were certain organizations, the White Sox were one of them, with an 0-2 count, you brushed that hitter back.
Yep. Yeah, that was pretty much a staple of aggressive pitching for quite a while. 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Appeal down to third base umpire Tony Randazzo, who said nope. Well, the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chirinos out to talk to Colby Lewis. You know, that and making all your guys knock down or brush back a hitter on 0-2, or not giving up a base hit 0-2. Those things, it's a good theory, but I don't think it applies to everybody. I don't think everybody can do that.
Right.
And now baseball's kind of gotten away from it. Line drive, base hit to left field. Flowers will be held at third as Rua gets to the ball quickly. So 3 consecutive 2-out hits. And the White Sox with the bases loaded and 2 away with Melky Cabrera coming up.
Rua did a great job charging that ball. You've got to come in. You can't wait for that ball to come out there when you've got a runner trying to score. And he lets off a pretty good throw. Getting it back into the cutoff man, Gallo. He pokes that fastball out to the outfield, to left field. And Rua charging all the way, gets his feet underneath him with a nice one-hopper to home plate.
Well, Mike Maddox out there now to talk to Colby and Robinson Chirinos. Sox with 8 hits tonight. This is the first time they put 3 together in an inning. First inning, they put 2 2-out singles together, and Colby was able to wiggle out of it. In the fourth, put a single and a double together. A great relay throw from Leonis Martin to Elvis Andrus to Robinson Chirinos. Cut down Garcia trying to score. Still just a 1-0 White Sox lead, and Colby trying to keep it right there. Melky Cabrera 0 for 3. And he takes strike 1. Cabrera has struck out his last 2 times to the plate after fouling out back in the first inning. Got Flowers at third, Sanchez at second, Eaton at first. Count evens and a ball and a strike. Cabrera, the switch hitter, but he's been much more effective from the left side of the plate this year. That one gets in on his fist and he chops it foul, just dribbling off into foul territory down the first baseline. Cabrera this year against right-handed pitching is hitting .276. Against left-handed pitching, hitting $1.33. Here's that breakdown graphically for you. 20 of his 23 RBI have come as a left-hander.
You know, it's tough for a switch hitter to be effective. And I think, you know, as years go on, you don't see as many switch hitters with even numbers, left-handed, right-handed. I think that's a lot due to the fact that you don't see as many left-handers. So therefore, you're not getting as many repetitions from the right-hand side. It's just, it's very difficult. It's a lot more difficult than people really, you know, realize. As a switch hitter, you've got to work twice as hard because you have to take twice as many swings, but you still have to get that live repetition in the game.
Got him on the fist. Pop up shallow right field. Long run out for Hanser Alberto. And with his back to home plate, Alberto plucks it off the top of his cap. A great running catch and a run-saving catch as Colby Lewis works through the inning. No runs, 3 hits, 3 left. On to the 8th, 1-0 Chicago. Schedule. Weekend series here in Chicago tomorrow afternoon and Sunday afternoon. Off day Monday. Rangers come back for a very brief 3-game homestand with the Oakland A's. And then it's on to Toronto and Baltimore to finish out the month of June. The sun not quite all the way down. A little bit of twilight left out there. Gordon Beckham is now playing third base for the Chicago White Sox, taking over for Connor Gillespie. Ryan Rua to start things off, and Chris Sale gets a swinging strike 1. Rua, a strikeout in the 2nd, a ground ball to 3rd in the 5th. Got him on the 5th. Sale still with plenty to work with at 97 miles an hour.
Wow.
101 pitches for the angular left-hander.
First pitch of the game at 98. Pitch 101, 97.
And strikeout number 12. Well, there is a historic strikeout for Chris Sale. He joins Randy Johnson and Pedro Martinez as the only pitcher since at least 1914 to do that 5 straight games. Emily Jones.
Well, fellas, I want to tell you about a very special event coming up at Globe Life Park in Arlington on July 9th. It's to honor our former colleague who passed away suddenly last year, and it's Do It for Durrett 80s night in honor of Richard Durrett. We have formed a nonprofit organization, a foundation in his name to help other families in our area that are affected by sudden loss. So it's 80s night. There will be performances by myself. Again, going back to the no shame thing, I'll be performing Elvis Andrews, Derek Holland alongside Texas country music star Casey Donahue will also be performing. We encourage everyone to dress up in 80s gear, have a lot of fun with it. Live and silent auction items that are ridiculously cool and off the charts, and all for a good cause, the Do It for Durrett Foundation. Go to doitfordurrett.com to get your tickets, and we are almost sold out, so get them quick, guys.
I want to know, Emily, if you're going to auction off your mullet.
You know what? That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I thought.
After wearing it that night.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea.
No, I think it'd be great.
Okay. I'll get to work on that.
I'll put in a bid for it.
Well, I appreciate that,
Sure.
Buzz. I appreciate it.
Robinson Chirinos flaring that out of play. Robinson down to the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Chirinos tonight has popped out and grounded out. And we'll go back. Now see, that is a great look. Emily can wear that.
She's rocking that.
She can do that.
You see her twirling it with the left hand.
Yeah.
See, she's very comfortable in that.
She may not want to. Well, that's not quite as good a look. And we may not want to get rid of that. Chris Sale with strikeout number 13 as Robinson Chirinos disputing the call by home plate umpire Will Liddy.
Sale trying to go inside and gets it right there. Maybe a little bit off the plate, but when you've already got 12 and you've shown that you're around the plate, you might get a little help from the umpire.
No, two out on strikeouts here in the 8th inning. Leonis Martin, who's punched out twice tonight. It's that big breaking ball for strike one. Martin down swinging both times against Chris Sale this evening. 0-2.
No, there just doesn't seem to be a whole lot of effort to try and break up that rhythm that he's got going.
Yeah. Crowd on their feet for Sale. The breaking ball is wide. Zach Putnam, right-hander, is loose if needed in that White Sox bullpen. But right now, it sure looks like Chris Sale has things pretty well under control. Leading 1-0. Rangers batting here in the top of the 8th inning. 1-2 pitch. Call, strike three. Martin arguing with Will Liddy, but the call is going to stand, and that's a 3-strikeout inning for Chris Sale. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. White Sox leading the Rangers 1-0.
White Sox game 2 tomorrow, a day game affair at 1 o'clock here on Fox Sports Southwest. Nick Martinez looks his dominance. Well, of course, we get you going 30 minutes before with Rangers Live. The information brought by the fine folks at AT&T Universe, guys.
All right, Em, thank you. Now, Jose Abreu leading off the bottom of the 8th inning against Colby Lewis. He took a big rip and swung through it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Got the slider again. Colby, for the most part tonight, has been able to match that down and away to right-handers, down and in on left-handers. He's got a lot of swings and misses. The one that stayed up, Tyler Flowers ran into it and hit it out of the ballpark. Comes back with a pretty good fastball. And Colby pitching an outstanding ball game tonight. Again, having great luck against the Chicago White Sox. Fortunately, matched up with Chris Sale, the Rangers have not been able to provide him any run support. 1-2 pitch. Abreu just trying to keep that from hitting himself in the belt buckle.
Yeah, Colby's done a tremendous job tonight. Scattered 8 hits, only 1 run. Had some help with a double cut. And a nice play by Alberto going down the right field line, but that's what the defense is out there for.
Colby to the plate. And that one's staying up a little bit, but it's fouled off to the right. Abreu, a single back in the first inning. He is 1 for 3 tonight. Up the middle, off of Colby's foot, is going to be in for a base hit as they carry him back to Hanser Alberto's left. Colby with a skate save, but couldn't get the carom the right way. Abreu's going to have his second hit of the night.
Yeah, that's one of those where, that's just a reaction from the pitcher trying to make that play, trying to field that ball. Alberto's playing up the middle, so it would have been right at him. But caromed off of Colby's foot.
Yeah. That's the third White Sox infield hit tonight off Colby Lewis. They have 9 hits altogether. 2 of them have gone for extra bases. Of course, the home run and Connor Gillespie double. Edel Barros, it's a high fly to left center. Playable. As Leonis Martin ambles over to make the grab. 1 gone. Back to first Abreu. And now Abisail Garcia will come up. Garcia, one of the infield singles. Coming back in the 4th inning. 1 for 3, hitting at .275. Garcia taking a little time, stepping into the box. Colby right on top, that pitching rubber, leaning in for the sign. Oh, and 1. Garcia came over here 2 years ago from Detroit. 3-team trade with the White Sox and the Tigers, and also Boston at the trade deadline of 2013. Colby out in front now, 0-2. Garcia still a youngster, just turned 24 years of age. Nothing in 2. Got him on the fist. Colby moving that fastball around pretty well, coupling that with a good slider, occasional slow curveball.
Colby's done a great job pitching into the 8th inning. You look at it, you're starting a ball game, and you say, hey, my starter's going to go out there, he's going to pitch me into the 8th inning and give me an opportunity to win by just giving up 1 run. I think any manager's going to take that.
Sure. No doubt about that. Yeah, Colby Lewis going up high, and Garcia couldn't get to it. Had 7 strikeouts now for Colby Lewis.
We'll put that fastball right there where he wants it, up and away. Just nipped the outside part of the plate. Garcia swung through it. 7th strikeout.
So it'll be Gordon Beckham now for his first at bat of tonight. Beckham came in defensively for Connor Gillespie last inning. Beckham at .218 average, 3 home runs, 14 driven in. Got Jose Abreu at first base with 2 outs, and the first pitch is popped up. Playable for Adam Rosales right in the coach's box down there, makes the grab, and that'll do it. So the leadoff single, no problem for Colby Lewis. Another runner stranded for the White Sox. On to the 9th we go, 1-0 Chicago. night is over. He will become a spectator now, and he turns the ball game over to the closer for the White Sox, and that is David Robertson. Robertson appearing in his 27th ball game. He came over here from the New York Yankees, signed as a free agent in the offseason by the White Sox. They installed him as their closer. Robertson, a hard-throwing right-hander. With the Yankees last year, had 39 saves and 63 opportunities. And Rougned Odor has been called off the bench to come in as a pinch hitter. Odor hitting for Hanser Alberto. Alberto went 1 for 2. A 1-0 White Sox lead. Robertson to Odor. Ball 1. Rougned, a 180 hitter with 1 home run, 13 driven in. This is his 4th ball game to appear in since coming back to the major leagues. He has been a very good player in those 4 games for the Rangers.
He has. He's done everything that they wanted him to do. His first trip, starting back in April, just got off to a slow start, but went down and took care of business in AAA. And now he's back up here contributing to the big league ball club.
Got him on the fist and a little pop-up out towards shortstop where Alexei Ramirez takes care of it. 1 out and back to the top of the order. Odor pops out. Shin-Soo Choo coming up. Choo 0 for 3. A fly ball, a ground out, and a strikeout. Chris Sale tonight, 8 innings of work. Shutout baseball. Just 2 hits allowed. No walks, 14 strikeouts. 5th consecutive game with 12 or more strikeouts. Choo is a miss. Chris Sale in his last 6 starts now has 75 punch-outs and allowed 22 hits.
That's pitching at its finest.
That is pretty much overpowering. Mismatch. Very rarely do you see guys at the big league level have mismatches created. But Sale, in the streak he's in right now, is a mismatch for almost anybody.
You know, just even see a streak like that in 1. You may see a guy, 1 or 2 outings in a row. But 6? It's hard to believe. Not hard to believe with his stuff.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to try and hit. But fun to watch.
A ball and 2 strikes to Choo. Robertson, 13 saves this year, a 1.95 ERA, the 4-1 pitcher. Check swing, a little foul ball. Well, Robertson, the time he spent in New York as an understudy for Mariano Rivera. There's a cutter. Wow. In case you had missed that by not having Mariano in the league, well, here's one for you. Robertson picked that pitch up.
Threw it right to the glove.
Another 1-2 pitch coming. Had to get back in there again, and a little too far. 2-2. David Robertson, a 30-year-old out of Birmingham, Alabama. Tried the breaking ball and has run the count full. The Rangers now just trailing by 1. An opportunity to get the tying run on base. If Choo can get aboard, Elvis Andrus waits to be next. Robertson sets. The payoff pitch coming. Ball 4. He lost him. The Rangers do indeed have the tying run aboard with 1 out. Choo at first. Elvis Andrus coming up 0 for 3 tonight. That's the first walk in the game for either club.
It's amazing.
How about the starting pitchers tonight? 21 strikeouts and no walks. These are the 2 of them.
That's some pretty good pitching.
Well, Elvis 0 for 3 tonight. strikeout, a ground out, and a fly ball to right field. Robertson ready for the first pitch. Gets that cutter on the inside corner. Elvis with a little bit of a history against David Robertson. 3 for 8 in previous matchups. Got Jewett first with pretty good speed and 1 out. It's a little bit outside. The count evens at 1-1. 22,864 on hand here at U.S. Cellular tonight. White Sox are going to have fireworks after the ball game. Rangers trying to provide a little head start on that. Provide some fireworks here in the top of the 9th inning. Base hit to center. Jude to second will stop there. And the Rangers have the tying and go-ahead runs aboard with 1 out, and Joey Gallo coming up.
Elvis got a pitch. Robertson trying to go down in the zone, but brought it back out over the plate a little bit. Elvis drives it right back up the middle for another single. Rangers are in business. They've got a runner in scoring position.
Well, Elvis with his first hit of the night. Rangers now with 3 base hits this evening. 2 on, 1 out. Joey Gallo as happy as anybody to see Chris Sale gone. Struck out all 3 times against the left-hander. Now facing the right-hander, David Robertson. That's a shot foul on the third base side. Well, you know, back-to-back nights now, the Rangers have seen closing stuff with great cutters. Last night, Kenley Jansen, and here, David Robertson. Wow. Left-handed hitters are getting a pretty good look of pitches coming into them from right-handers.
Those are hard to hit, especially with that late movement there coming in on your hands.
Chopper foul. Gallo now down in the count, no balls, 2 strikes. David Robertson, 13 out of 16 in the save department this year. Robin Ventura, along with pitching coach Don Cooper over there, trying to figure a way to snap this 7-game losing streak for the White Sox. The 0-2 pitch. That gets away from Flowers. Both runners are going to advance, and Flowers almost threw it into center field.
Yeah, not a smart play.
A wild pitch, but Flowers almost turned it into a couple of bases. So the Rangers now with a tying run at third, the go-ahead run at second, and 1 out.
Always jumps up on that ball. Chu got a great jump from second going to third, and Elvis followed right along. And Flowers almost threw that ball, bounced it into center field, and tied the ball game.
Now Robin Ventura going to go out and take some explicit manager's instructions out there. You can get it from the horse's mouth. This is what we want to have done, and here's what we expect.
Doesn't want to get anything lost in translation right now.
Sox fans getting a little bit antsy.
She's into it, isn't she?
You think she's second guessing the manager?
Maybe just a little bit. Just a little bit. You don't see that too often.
Robin Ventura, of course, anytime you remove a guy like Chris Sale after he's worked 8 innings of shutout baseball, you leave yourself open for second guessing. That's just the nature of the game. But White Sox very protective of Chris Sale. He threw 111 pitches tonight, and that's what they have a closer down there for, they believe. So here we go, second and third with 1 out, and a breaking ball call, strike 3. Gallo strikes out for the 4th time tonight as he's caught looking at a pitch from Robertson. 2 gone. And now the White Sox are going to go ahead and walk Prince Fielder to load the bases. And looking down into the on-deck circle as this first wide one is delivered, Mitch Moreland has grabbed a bat, and he's going to pinch hit for Adam Rosales. Well, the tandem of Prince Fielder and Mitch Moreland together here in the 9th inning. Mitch will come off the bench after Prince is given the intentional pass. Third wide one, now the fourth wide one delivered. Robertson. Prince on down to first. Bases full with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. Rangers trailing 1-0, and Mitch Moreland an opportunity as a pinch hitter to turn this game around. Moreland against Robertson in his career is 2 for 3 with a walk. A little bit of history there, all on Mitch's side. Moreland hitting at an even 300. 8 home runs, 31 driven in. David Robertson getting set to work to Moreland. Mitch, as a pinch hitter this year, takes high and outside for ball 1. Moreland 2 out of 3 with an RBI. He's got the tying run down at third. Shin-Soo Choo out at second. Elvis Andrus, and at first, Prince Fielder. 1 ball, no strikes. Line drive, base hit right field. Choo scored. Here comes Elvis. He scores. Fielder going to third. Mitch Moreland delivers off the bench, and the Rangers take a 2-1 lead as Moreland turns it around.
Wow, that's big time hitting right there. Big time hitting by Mitch Moreland coming off the bench, looking for one pitch, something to hit hard, and he delivers. Robertson wanted that cutter in, left it out over the plate, and Mitch jumped all over it, drills it into right field, drives in the tying run and the go-ahead run. No chance to get Elvis coming around third. Prince gets all the way over to third base.
Well, Mitch Moreland with his 11th and 12th runs driven in his last 9 ball games, and none have been bigger than these two. Rangers offense was dormant for the first 8 innings against Chris Sale. Well, non-existent, I mean dormant. And all of a sudden, David Robertson comes in. There's a jump start to the Ranger offense, and Moreland does it with a pinch hit 2-run single.
You know, not taking anything away from Robertson, but with the way that Sale was pitching tonight, it was, you know, anybody that came in after that was going to be a little bit easier.
Yeah, and by bringing in a right-hander, too, I know that Robertson's your closer. But you also put into play all the left-handers that the Rangers had on the bench that were not going to start against Sale.
Moreland being the most dangerous one of them.
Robert Ventura finding out that closing games out for a team that's lost 7 in a row, not the easiest thing sometimes. Ryan Rua with a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes, 0 for 3 tonight in his return to the big leagues. Rua with a couple of strikeouts and a ground ball to third. Prince Fielder, the runner at third. Mitch Moreland at first base. Call strike 3, and Rua knew it. Robertson gets a couple of strikeouts in the inning, but the Rangers take the lead. They have 2 runs on 2 hits and lead 2. We're going to the bottom of the 9th. It's Sean Thomas and time with the Rangers on top by 1. Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T U-verse TV. U-verse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your Texas Ford dealer now for great deals on America's best-selling brand. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, a 2-1 Ranger lead. And if you checked in about 10 minutes ago, before we went to the top of the ninth, you would have said, well, Chris Sale's going to get a W, and Rangers are going to get shut out back-to-back nights. Wrong. Mitch Moreland took it into his own hands after a lot of good things happened to the Rangers prior to that. And a 2-run single with Sean Tollison a chance to get his 10th save.
Yeah, coming off after the 8th inning, Chris Sale came into the dugout, and it looked like what I saw was he was saying, hey, I've got it, I've got it. You know, even though he was at 112 pitches, so I thought for sure he was going to be coming back out there for that 9th inning. But Robin Ventura making the smart move, getting your best pitcher, your ace out of there after 112 pitch performance. And you turn the job over to your closer, who you expect to close things out. But the Rangers had something else on their minds.
Sean Tollison dealing to Alexei Ramirez. Leading things off. Ramirez 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of ground balls to short, a fly ball to right. Tollison with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Tollison officially took the title of closer. That came on Tuesday back home in Arlington. Elvis gliding to his left. That is out number 1. Alexei Ramirez for the 3rd time tonight, giving Elvis a little ground ball practice. And with Tyler Flowers due up, Robin Ventura is going to go to the bench and come off with the only left-hander that they have on the bench, and that's J.B. Shuck. Shuck is going to pinch hit against Sean Tollison. White Sox 34 straight wins when they've been leading after 7 innings, and Rangers trying to break that here tonight. With Shuck coming up as a pinch hitter. Again, Mike Maddox out just to make sure that what they had talked about in the pregame pitchers meetings about J.B. Shuck is refreshed in the minds of Colby Lewis. I should say of Sean Tollison and Robinson Chirinos.
You know, you'll see that a lot. It's a crucial situation, and even though you know you've gone over it with your pitching staff, you know, in the meeting before the game, you take that extra, 30, 45 seconds to go out there and remind him, here's the game plan against this pitcher or against this hitter in this situation.
Yep. J.B. Shuck, a 269 average. There's Tollison, misses low and outside with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. We have seen some Ranger pitchers come in throwing some gas the last few games.
I like it. Everybody out of that bullpen is coming out of there throwing 94, 95 plus.
John Edwards, Sam Freeman, Tanner Sheppers. This pitch popped up, foul territory. Long run over for Gallo. The ball's coming back a little bit, and Joey Gallo staying with it nicely.
Nice.
For out number 2.
Joey and those long arms. Joey getting down that line, getting close to the tarp over there, sticks that hand out, ball goes right in. There you go. Show the umpire. You see him look down to find that tarp, make sure how much room he's got. Another great play by Gallo over at third base.
Well, with the Elvis going to have some fun with him. Joey Gallo's made a couple of those excellent plays over the shoulder, no-look catches, and Hanser Alberto made one going into right field way down the line. So it's been a night for Ranger defense, flashing some pretty good leather. Giovanni Soto has come off the bench. The former Ranger going to be a pinch hitter now, and Soto up there because he has the ability to drive the ball out of the ballpark on one swing. With the White Sox trailing 2-1, he'll face his old battery mate, Sean Tollison. Soto with 4 home runs this year, a .215 average. Tollefson with the 0-1 pitch. Last time we saw Sean was 2 days ago. 3 days ago, I guess it was, the last game against the Dodgers at home. He worked 2/3 of an inning. Got the win in relief. He misses outside here to Soto. It's 2-1. Night before, Tollefson had picked up his 9th consecutive save against L.A. He is 9 for 9, looking to make it double figures. 2-1 pitch. 3 balls and a strike. If Soto extends this 9th inning, you have the top of the order and Anaheim in the on-deck circle. Three-1 offering. Ball 4. Soto draws the 2-out walk. That is the first walk issued by Ranger pitching tonight. And it was a walk in the top of the 9th inning to Shin-Soo Choo that kind of got the Ranger comeback going. Let's hope that Sean Tollefson doesn't have the same thing happen. We're reminded that the White Sox can't pinch run for Giovanni Soto unless they be out of catchers. He's the second and only catcher that they have. So with Flowers out of the game, Soto has to stay in. Adam Eaton 1 for 4. That first pitch in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. And that might have been a spot there where a pinch runner could have anticipated the ball in the dirt and gotten himself in a scoring position.
I have.
But Soto, not with that kind of speed. Eaton a base hit to right field in the 7th. Sorry, Matt.
Soto more of a station-to-station guy, not a first to third or first to home, hopefully.
That is out of play. Eaton, slashing type hitter. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sean Tollefson, the 26-year-old out of Allen, Texas, by way of Baylor University. The 1-1 pitch. In for a strike. 1-2. Boy, Tommy with that 95-mile-an-hour heater getting it down right at the bottom of the strike zone.
And on the inside part of the plate. Eaton had no chance at that one.
1-2 with 2 outs, a man aboard. Rangers leading 2-1. Sean Tollefson trying to cap off a comeback Ranger victory. Just missed outside. 2-2. You can hear that mitt popping all the way to Lake Michigan from here. Sean gets the sign he wants, a check of Soto. The 2-2 to Eaton. Foul back. With our Echo pitch tracker showing you Sean Tollefson working all around the middle of that strike zone. Keeping it out of the middle of the plate if possible. He's ready for another 2-2. Tried the changeup, and it was not near enough to get the offer at it. So the count has gone full, and now with 2 outs, Giovanni Soto will have the advantage of being able to take off with the pitch. If Eaton is able to extend the ball game, you have Milky Cabrera waiting in the on-deck circle. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the 9th inning. Tollefson ready. Soto on the move. Payoff pitch. Hit him. Eaton spinning out of the way of the pitch, and it got him right in the upper shoulder. And that's going to put the tying run at second and the winning run at first for the White Sox, with Melky Cabrera coming to the plate.
Well, Charlie looked like he tried to hump up and put a little extra on that one. Just yanked it. Got eaten right there on the hip.
Chirinos and Elvis Andrus have to have a little conference with Sean Tolleson. Tolleson covering up his mouth as he talks to Robinson Chirinos. Soto at second, Eaton at first. 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. John Tolleson trying to close out his 10th save of the year and in succession. Yogi Cabrera 0 for 4 tonight. Had 2 strikeouts and 2 pop-outs. Tolleson leaning in for the sign. He sets the first pitch. Went off speed, and Cabrera up there trying to turn it loose.
Going with a breaking ball down in the zone. Melky swings right over the top of it.
Yogi Cabrera 0 for 1 in the previous matchup against Sean Tolleson. Soto at second, Eaton at first, 0-1 the count. Pop foul. And again, Sean Tolleson within a strike of closing this game out. Had Eaton down, a ball and 2 strikes. He back to fill the count and hit him.
Tolly going with another breaking ball. Got Melky to get out in front of that one, foul it off. Tolly's in a great position now. He's just got to come up with that pitch to finish him off.
Chirinos with the series of signs. Tolleson agrees. The 0-2 on the way. Shallow right field going out Odor. Backpedaling, makes the catch, and that is a winner. Sean Tolleson made it a little interesting in the 9th inning, but got the big out, the pop-up to Odor. And the Rangers with a great come-from-behind 2-1 win. Chris Sale with 8 shutout innings, 14 strikeouts tonight. But Mitch Moreland coming off the bench in the 9th inning, a 2-run single, put the Rangers on top, and Sean Tolleson closing it out in the 9th inning with a little help from his friends. And the Rangers back on the winning side of things, 2-1, the final here tonight.
Beautiful night. You look at that 9th inning when they get the first out. Odor grounds out or pops up to shortstop. Chu gets a walk. Elvis singles up the middle. Joey Gallo strikes out. The intentionally walk fielder. Mitch Moreland comes in to pinch hit, drives in the 2, the game-winning run. Beautiful night, beautiful victory.
Our TXU Energy Power Player of the Game. How about Mitch Moreland? He provided the power and the energy that the Rangers needed tonight.